Hello everyone, Brandon here, and today we're going to turn this kimchi jar into a natural terrarium, only using plants that you can find in your backyard. Or at least, if you live in North America, you'll be able to find probably all these plants near your house. So let's get started. The first thing you'll need is some activated carbon, or some charcoal. Whatever you have is fine, but you want to use this to keep mold from growing in your tank. Not your tank, your terrarium. So we're just going to put a little bit at the bottom right here. Maybe I'd say about, for every 5 inches, do half an inch of a false bottom. It's completely essential to have activated carbon in here, because if not, your terrarium will get completely overrun with mold and bacteria and other stuff you don't want living in there. This amount should be good. Now the next thing we need is a false bottom barrier. So for this, we're just going to be using a plastic bag, and right along here it'll sit. It'll keep the dirt away from the false bottom charcoal area so they don't mix together. What will happen is when water is added in, it'll sink below the false bottom, then evaporate, become air, then just continue. So the water cycle will just keep on going inside of the terrarium. For the false bottom here, we're using a plastic bag like this one. Anyone from like the grocery store or whatever will be fine. The other thing you can use is just a plastic, almost like a sandwich bag, and just cut that, but you kind of can reuse this, so we're just going to do that for today. What you want to do now is get out your scissors like these, and we're just going to cut around this. Hold on, let's get a better angle. Right around here. And just cut it maybe a little bit bigger than the bottom of your jar. When you're done, it should look something like this. It is a little bit bigger, and again, it's not perfect, but it'll be fine for our purposes. The next thing you want to do is probably you'll want a pencil for this, but I think I left mine inside, so we're going to use this stick that I found. Just want to poke some holes like that at the bottom. This will allow water to pass through. Just like that. Not too many. You probably don't, for one this size, probably don't need more than 8. And just continue doing that all around. So when you're done, just put the barrier in just like that. Now the next step is the substrate. For mine, I'm going to be using a mixture of different stuff. This is a tree stump. There's some of these rocks on here, but I just want to get a good handful of this. You can also use potting soil or whatever. But this is what I have. As well as I'm going to mix some sand and bark and other stuff that I'll show you in a minute. But this is going to be the base layer of it. It's really nutritious and probably has some insects and stuff and it'll break down waste. I'm also going to be using a bit of sand. Here in Virginia, there is still a pretty good amount here. It's pretty sandy. I don't live near the beach or anything, but this will just provide a little bit, this will just add a little bit of something to it. I'm also going to add a bit more of the tree stump broken down, but I'm going to add a little bit like that in there. Just for some more, so the roots of the plants and stuff can grip in a bit better. Now the next thing is some bark. There's some over here at the stump again. This will just give the plants something more to grip onto. It's nothing too special, anything will work. Just make sure it's not sprayed with pesticide or anything. And you don't even need that much. And once you have it all together, just mix it up like I have. Just like this. We only need a little bit of substrate because there's not even too much going in here. And now for the planting. This is the most enjoyable part. You get to run around your yard or park or wherever you are. Try to find some plants you think would look nice in the tank. Terrarium. I keep on saying terrarium. I just do a lot of stuff with fish tanks on my channel. So if you want to see some of those, you can check them out as well. I found some really cool looking fern moss here. This will do very well in our terrarium. You just want a little bit. Never take more than you need. But I just want to take this nice little segment right here, and we'll put it in our terrarium. So after walking around in my yard for a bit, I found this plant. It looks pretty cool. It's just a weed, but I think it would look nice in this terrarium. We might have to pull off some of these bigger leaves, but we'll just place it right in the back because it's a bit taller. These clovers are I'm not sure if they're clovers, but they look pretty nice. And they're nice and small, so I think they'd look really, really well in this terrarium. I also found this little tiny piece of moss, and I think it would look good up front over here, right next to the clover and the other plants in here. And now for the main decorating part. So this would be like rocks or twigs or whatever you think would look nice. Over here there's some really, it's another tree. There's like some pieces of mulch or bark or whatever. They're really cool looking. I think I'm just going to take a small piece like that. That would look pretty nice in there. So now we have our bark. We might need to make this a little bit smaller. We'll just stick it right here in the back. Now for the last step, we just have to add some water. So this is the tadpole pond. You probably just want to use just some normal dechlorinated water, but I'm outside. So I just decided, let's just get some water from here. You don't want to do it too much, just a little bit, because if not, you can get a ton of mold or bacteria outbursts, even with the false bottom. So that's all for now. The last and final step is now to get your terrarium, put the lid on, and hopefully you won't ever have to open this again. These can last quite a while. The only reason you should open it up is maybe to trim it, or if there's something weird growing in there. So now this is the final product of our terrarium. It looks pretty good right now, and maybe in a couple months we'll do an update if it's doing very well. I hope you all enjoyed, and we'll see you guys all in the next one. Goodbye.